Yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this video is going to be concerning it's not enough jobs for the entire American community. It's not enough jobs for the entire American community. You know that person that goes by homeless people and yells out their window, get a job. This is for you. Did you know in the American community, there is not enough jobs for everybody to be employed at the same time? That means for all the people you esteem as lazy, incompetent in some way, it's not enough jobs for all of them. There's not enough jobs for all American citizens right now as of 2023. There's never been enough jobs for everybody. So it's an illusion that everybody could be working. It's an illusion. Everybody cannot work. There's not enough jobs for everyone. So what are we actually doing? We're playing musical chairs. People working here, people unemployed there, everybody going after the same opening. And somebody get it and everybody else just sits there and watch the person in the musical chair. There is not enough jobs for everyone. There's not. So it's an illusion that everybody could be working. So if all the homeless people, all the unemployed people, both combined, the homeless people, the people that are maybe living with other people but not working, all of those people, if they went and looked for work, right, there would not be enough jobs in America to employ them all. So the greatest country supposedly in the world does not have enough jobs to employ all of its citizens. That's the bottom line. They're talking about adding jobs all the time, and still with that being said or done, there's still not enough jobs for every American citizen to have a job. There's not enough jobs for all Americans to be employed and working. This is something that they haven't pointed out. It makes them look weak. It makes them look incompetent. It makes them look like dwarfs. You're the greatest country in the world, but yet you cannot employ everyone. You cannot give everyone a job. And the job that they always talking about, the jobs that they talking about, they added to the workforce. Those jobs are competed for. Those are not, like you and I think, jobs down the street. No. I had to realize this. The jobs that they say that they're adding to the workforce, that the government, that these politicians are saying they just added to the workforce, all of those are jobs that require some type of skill or trade, bottom line. It's not a job that you can just walk down the street and get. So for all the unemployed people and homeless people, it's not really a job that you probably could get if you don't have a trade or a skill for that job. They're not adding jobs that the common everyday person can get without a trade or a skill. It's not one of those situations. Right? It's not one of those situations. It's not a job that somebody, if somebody heard this on the streets and they were like, wow, I just heard they added 30,000 jobs. I probably can go find a job around here. No, you can't. Those jobs you probably would have to find online. Those are jobs that require a certain skill and trade. Yeah. But the Jedi mind trick is they don't tell you that. These politicians don't tell you what's required concerning these jobs that have been added to the workforce. The Jedi mind trick is to impress you as if, oh, you can get these jobs. We have these jobs available for Americans. No, let's review the situation. These jobs are not for all Americans. They're for specific Americans. And some would say they're more for white Americans. The jobs that they have added to the workforce are more for white Americans because it requires trades or skills, degrees from college. Right? Which excludes many people that are not able to go to school or to get those trades and skills for whatever reason, or for whatever reason they don't have them. Right? So that's more jobs, most likely, that's going to go in the hands of white Americans, not all Americans. Okay? I'm just letting you know. Because when they say they add jobs, the Jedi mind trick is, oh, yeah. We can go get a job. We can go down the block. See, most American citizens think, like I thought, well, yeah, somewhere around in the city, there's more jobs. Nah, buddy. Those jobs require skills and expertise that you probably don't have, which means it's irrelevant to you. But it's a Jedi mind trick when they tell you that, so that it makes it look like there's more jobs in your area, that they're doing something, but they're doing nothing for you. They're doing nothing for the everyday person that really needs a job. They're doing nothing for you. It falls in the hands of white Americans usually. See that part? Do you see that part right there? Okay? That's what I need you to know. And I need you to keep thinking about the fact that all Americans cannot work at the same time. All of us cannot work at the same time. We cannot all be employed at the same time. It's not possible. So, again, if everybody went out looking for work, trying to work, it would be an impossibility right here in America. It's an impossibility for everybody to work. So, what are those people supposed to do? While everyone else is working, what do the people that can't literally work, what are they supposed to do? Wait? Just wait, right? That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to just wait. Meanwhile, they have needs, right? Now you see where I'm going with this. They got all kind of needs and everything. They're supposed to stand out in the rain and wait. You do not have enough jobs for the American citizens. This is something, this is another thing that, all these other people that's talking to you, they haven't revealed to you. Here's another one. They haven't revealed this to you. They haven't said in plain English, you know what? There's not enough jobs. If everyone wanted to work, if they did, they couldn't. If everyone decided, gee, I want to be employed, they couldn't be. That needs to be said in plain English. That's a crisis, actually. When you really think about it, that is a crisis. That everybody cannot work at the same time in America, supposed to be the greatest country in the world, but everybody cannot work at the same time. So how do you esteem these people that can't work while everyone else is working? How you esteem the people that can't work? What do you do? How do you treat them? How do you esteem them? Because it's not their fault. Now, I could per se be working, but I'm not talking about, maybe I could be, right? Maybe you could be, but everybody can't, right? Everybody can't be working. So this goes back to what I'm saying. You can't esteem the people that don't have a job as less than a man or less than a woman. Because in all actuality, everybody in your community cannot be working at the same time. So how can you say they're not a man or a woman because your workforce is incompetent where we all can't work at one time? No, this ain't an excuse. This is reality. You want to say it's an excuse? How is it an excuse? It's reality. It's the facts. You can't employ everybody here. So how can you esteem the men and women that can't work right now or can't work all at one time in your community? How can you esteem them as incompetent? No, your workforce is incompetent. You don't work on the right things. You got trillions and trillions of dollars that you give to the Ukrainian war, but you have right now in 2023 a community that cannot all work at the same time. You see how the priorities here is out of whack. That's your main thing you should be working on. Yeah, I know life is hard, but you should be working on that, buddy. Life is hard, but you should be working on the fact that all of your American citizens cannot work at one time if they wanted to. This is the main thing you should be working on besides anything else, building any technology. Can we stop building technology? Can Americans stop building technology and work on real things that matter? Can we stop that? Can you stop walking around building technology? Yeah, and focus on the ghetto and getting black people out the ghetto. You've been working on building technology this whole time, but you still ain't pulled black people out the ghetto. Seems like you got your priorities out of whack now, don't it? How can you do it with a right conscience? How can you build technologies in all type of cars and all type of phones and gadgets and everything in between? How can you build technologies and build yourself up as a technology empire, but you still got people that live in poverty? It's tacky. For lack of a better word, it's tacky. When you can't even employ everybody, you got the ghettos, and yet you're building technology. And yeah, you're building a technology empire. Yeah, it's kind of tacky. Yeah, here we are in tacky land. We're in tacky world when everybody can be employed in the greatest country in the world. As far as finances, technology, military, yada, yada, yada. But you can't employ everybody, which is tacky. Yeah, it's kind of tacky. You boast of being the greatest country in the world, but at the same time, you can't employ everybody. That's kind of tacky, buddy. Oh, it coordinates? It coordinates with your greatness? That coordinates with your greatness? It coordinates. It coordinates. Yeah, it doesn't coordinate, does it? It doesn't coordinate with your greatness of military, all this high tech stuff you got going on. But yet you can't employ everybody. That's a little tacky, buddy. And you would think the way they talk on TV about employing or adding jobs to the workforce, this would be their top priority. They talk about this though, don't they? They talk about this. Oh, they got to. They got to. They got to throw out a Jedi mind trick. They don't talk about 44 states for child marriage, but they do talk about this, don't they? Every once in a while, you hear them talking about they've added such and such amount of jobs to the workforce. But these are relevant jobs to you because if you don't have a skill, you ain't getting them. Oh, you think you're going to be able to walk down the block and get a job that they just added to the workforce? That the politician told you they just added? You think you're going to be able to walk down the block and get that? Come on, man. Those jobs, I guarantee hundreds of people are competing for it. It's one opening. Those jobs that they added, thousands are probably competing for those same jobs. You know how it go. You got your resume is required. All kind of other stuff is required. These are not jobs as they put it. They use a Jedi mind trick, like I said. These are not jobs that you can walk down the block and get. This is how they play on your intelligence. This is how they insult your intelligence. As if these jobs that they know about are jobs you can walk around the corner and go get. That's what they want to make you feel, right? Like it's accessible to you. Yeah, we just added 30,000 jobs. They want to make you feel like those jobs are accessible to you, and they're not. They won't dare tell you, yeah, we just added 30,000 job openings, but here's the catch. You got to have a trade to get them. Here's the catch. You got to have some type of degree to get them. You got to have some college degree to get them. They ain't going to tell you that part. But you have to read between the lines. Is it a job that you can go down to at your nearest Burger King? So they tell you about so those job openings are Burger King openings. A job that you can go get easily, right? And get a little bit of money in your pocket, right? Nah, it's not. Come on, it's not that. Those are jobs that require expertise that some way makes that is in some way noticeable to the White House. Job openings like Burger King are not noticeable to the White House, are they? They're not the jobs that they added, are they? They said they added them. Okay, so you added Burger King job openings? Most likely you didn't. I'm not downing the job opening. I'm saying that the White House didn't add Burger King job openings, which they should be. You should be adding more jobs like that. If you want to add some jobs, why don't you add jobs that the average everyday American can go down around the corner and get? Why don't you do that? I know you're one-track minded, ain't you? You can't think about how you can add common jobs for common folks. That's a 7th hour. You can't You can't add, these people talking about they adding jobs. They are not adding jobs for everyday common folks. Not really. They're not adding common jobs for common folks. Bottom line. So, really, it's like they didn't add any jobs. So, if you're tired of homelessness, like San Francisco, for all the San Francisco residents that may be listening to this, guess what, buddy? I know you're tired of seeing all those homeless people around, right? I've lived in San Francisco myself. I've seen it firsthand. How it's a whole homeless community everywhere, right? You cannot change that unless your American government add enough jobs for every citizen to be employed. Because when you look at that, what you be thinking? Oh, I wish they could do something about that. Well, how is that possible? If they don't have enough jobs for everybody to work, how is it possible? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's another step for you. Even if they do provide jobs for everybody, it's not a living wage. You know what a living wage is? A living wage means you make enough money to pay for rent or mortgage. You make enough money to pay for rent or a mortgage on your own. That wage itself, not combined with somebody else's wages like people do with roommates and all of that. Nah. A living wage itself is enough for you to pay rent. So even, let's go a step further. You think all these jobs, if we did employ everybody in America, you think that each and every person has a living wage? That's a 7 hour. You think everybody has a living wage? Which means they're able to go get rent in their community in all these great metropolises in America. So if you did, let's go back to San Francisco. One of the most expensive places to live in the country. You see where I'm going with this, don't you? So if you did employ all these homeless people in San Francisco, they got a job, right? This is for the grumpy, self-righteous people who look down on homeless people for not working. If they did give everybody and all these homeless people jobs in San Francisco, you think that's going to be a living wage? You think that's going to be a living wage where they can actually have their own apartment and pay for their utilities and all of that and their food and everything? So here's the situation. It's twofold. It's a twofold situation. Not only can you not employ everyone in America, that's number one. Number two is, if you did employ everyone wouldn't have a living wage. So therefore, even if you did employ everyone, you would still have homelessness because everyone wouldn't have a living wage. That's a 7 hour. So what you got to say about that? It's a real reality, sad reality. They haven't been working on it. If they had been working on it, it wouldn't, with all these trillions of dollars, not billions that you be marveling at, not billions that you be in awe about, trillions. if they had been taking all of that and putting it towards making real living wage job openings, then you wouldn't be in a situation like you are as supposedly the greatest country in the world, where you boast of all your technology, you boast of your militaries, but you in all actuality don't have enough jobs, or jobs that are living wages where people can pay for their own rent and utilities. You don't have that for all American citizens. So it's an illusion. Now we established this. It's an illusion that to think that everyone could be working or everyone could be off the streets. Because even if you employ them all, like I said, it ain't all living wages, the jobs that they would have. That's a fact. Now here's the other problem. Here's the main problem. Cost of living. Back to San Francisco. Cost of living is crazy in San Francisco. And listen, a lot of people are discouraged. All those homeless people, some of them realize what I've come to the conclusion of. Oh, you don't think they realized it? That all these people probably couldn't work here in San Francisco. And even if they did, this is definitely what they realized. The cost of living is too high for me to actually get off the streets with any job I get, considering the cost of living here in San Francisco. So most homeless people are discouraged not because of a lack of a job, they're discouraged because of the cost of living. Well, if the cost of living was decent, then most homeless people would say, well, we can do that. I can go get a job and get off the streets. You're discouraged because of the cost of living. That's a 7 hour. That's your first discouragement. Is the fact that, hey, I'm not going to be able to afford that rent, even if I wanted to, which means you don't have a living wage because of the cost of living. If you live in a country town, then it's easier to have a living wage because the cost of living is lower. That's a 7 hour. If the cost of living is lower, then a living wage is more possible. If you listen, if you keep you letting these people jack up the rent all across the country, it makes it harder and harder and harder for homeless people to get off the streets. So your biggest problem is the cost of living, because that determines the living wage. Because like I said, if you have a low cost of living, then the living wage bracket is more broader. If you have a high cost of living, the living wage is more narrow. The bracket of the living wage, the jobs that offer living wages according to the surrounding areas, that bracket is more narrow. It's more narrow. The bracket is for places that have the cost of living jacked up. These job openings, these jobs are not living wages when you have the cost of living jacked up. So you'll say, okay, what do, Marcello? You ask the government that has all these trillions of dollars to start investing in a program to give money to these landlords and these homeowners, these people who own properties. They have to start giving them more money so they can bring down the cost of living. Yeah. Well, you're giving money to Ukrainian wars. Why can't you give money to these landlords and these people who own these properties so that they can bring down the cost of living and what they require for people to live at their properties? This is what has to happen. Somebody has to get paid. And it can't be me and you. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that. Giving us necessarily more money. How is it? Okay, you change the minimum wage, but how is that really going to really put a dent in the cost of living? Right? It's not going to put a dent in the cost of living. It ain't going to change it at all. It's not going to change your living wage, right? It's not, even if the minimum wage went up, right? It's not going to necessarily push many wages into being a living wage. Here's another deception. Okay, they changed minimum wage. See, how you think is, ooh, yeah, that's more money. That's all you really think. In all actuality, they still haven't given these job openings that have more money as a result of a higher minimum wage is still not a living wage. It's still not. If you do not have a living wage, for people that haven't pondered this for a while, it may have been a long time since you've thought about a living wage. If you do not have a living wage, you will still be homeless, or you will still be living with someone else. You have to have a living wage. You can't just have a job. Some people think, oh, okay, all that person needs is a job. No, all that person needs is a living wage. Here in New York, you need a living wage. In San Francisco, you need a living wage. And all these other cities that people love to go to, you need a living wage. So they got trillions of dollars, but they haven't been working on the living wage. This is what I'm trying to show you. All these politicians sitting up talking about everything else, policies and foolishness. And in actuality, they don't have a living wage for you all. Well, how hard is that? How hard is it? When you have trillions of dollars, you can't make a program for property owners. You have to cut them a check so they can reduce the rent. This is how it will work. This is my solution. I know, here's something else I'm telling you that nobody else is telling you. I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you my importance at the same time. Here's something else I'm telling you that nobody else is telling you. That all the Americans cannot be employed at the same time. Anybody telling you that? Oh yeah, I'm going to point this out. Yeah, I sure am. That's the 7th hour. I'm going to point this out. Anybody telling you this? That you all cannot be employed at the same time, even if you wanted to, and a step further, you all would not be making a living wage if you were all employed. If you were all employed, some of you would be working for baby toys. Some of you would be working for Happy Meal toys. You'll be working for Happy Meals. You would not have a living wage. You see how discouraging it is? But it shouldn't be this way. This is what I'm trying to show you. Right? This is what I'm trying to show you. It wouldn't be this way if they took trillions of dollars that they do have and put it towards making a program to give finances to home property owners, to property owners, residential property owners. If they bridged the gap, if they made a bridge over to these property owners, a program, they have to make an official program, guys. They can't just say, "Oh, let me cut you a check." No, it needs to be a program, a nationwide program that provide monies all year, every year for property owners. If they don't do this, the cost of living will never go down. Therefore, wages that you make will not be living wages according to the cost of living. This is what they're not telling you. You could have thought about it, but you didn't. See, we're all important. While you're working, I am sitting here working at figuring this situation out in your community. See, we're all important. You can't underestimate everyone's position, because you've been working and you ain't even thought about this. Have you thought about it? You have, had you? The fact that they can't employ everybody at one time. I don't want to hear no Jedi mind tricks, right? Can you do it or can you not? All right? And if you can't employ everyone at the same time, that's the bottom line. We all can't be employed. And even if you did, it's not going to be a living wage. It's not going to be, which means in actuality, you still will have homeless people, even if we were all working. So the problem and the dilemma is the cost of living. And I'm going to keep campaigning about this. This is something that I'm going to keep campaigning about, because this is the top of the problems. This is the top of the problems in this is one of the top number one problems in your community. Because look, they're giving you smoke and mirrors. They're giving you circuses and everything. They got a circus going on. They got smoke and mirrors. They're telling you about policies. Donald Trump ain't telling you nothing about employing everyone. Joe Biden is not talking to you about employing everyone. That's what we want to hear in plain English. You're living in America where English is the main language, and no one's talking in plain English. They all have Jedi mind tricks. Why don't you talk in plain English? You know why? Because it reveals, you know why they ain't doing it? Because it reveals who they really, the deception, the Jedi mind tricks. It reveals it. They can't employ everyone at one time. You hear what I'm saying in plain English? They cannot employ everyone in America at one time. You all can't be employed at one time like one big working family. No, that's not possible. And even if it was, you know, like I know, all those jobs are not living wages, which means they are employed, but yet they can't go work. They can't go get an apartment. They can't do it, especially in the cities where the cost of living is skyrocketing, where the cost of living is like a rocket in the sky. you listen. They can't get everybody in an apartment in some of these great metropolises, these expensive metropolises. They can't. And so here you are with the reality of the truth. Something that they keep putting off and they don't tell you. See, they got a lot of stuff that they put off that they don't tell you. I'm going to do a video about that. That's 7 hour. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that they don't tell you, right? They're putting it off. They're putting off telling you the truth about it. These are one of those things they're telling you that they're putting off telling you the truth about. They're putting off telling you the truth about the fact that so they can fix it before you realize it. That they can't employ everybody. They can't do it. Even if they wanted to, they can't do it. And even if they did, it still would not be enough for you to get off the streets. So in actuality, many people that are working are actually homeless. They're living with someone else. And you know what the real subtle reality is? They couldn't live on their own if they wanted to. They probably argue with people that they live with saying this. I couldn't live on my own if I wanted to. How could I? Look at the money that I'm making. Look at the city that we live in. They probably argue with the roommate telling them this, or the family member that they argue and tell them, I couldn't stay on my own if I wanted to. Look at the cost of living in this country, and look at the cost of living in this city, and look what I have. So in all actuality, there are many people that are either roommates or living with someone else, family members, friends, whatever. They don't have enough money to live on their own because of the cost of living. The cost of living should be something that everyone should be concerned about. Everybody. This is how you really handle homelessness. Some of these people, are so dinky out here. These police and all these other people. Well, I don't know what we're going to do about this homeless problem. It's just, you can't make people work. You can lead a horse to a water, but you can't make them drink. That's what they're saying among themselves. Well, let me help you something, Copper. Let me help you with something, Copper. Copper. Let me help you with something, Copper. Everyone cannot be employed at the same time in your country. And even if they were here in America, everyone would not have a living wage, which means they would be still homeless, but working. That's what it means, Copper. Why you think you got all the solutions? It's me. Do you got any solutions? Do you know why it's really going on? You don't, do you? Yeah, I just told you. You should cut me a check. Well, I just helped you. You go to these seminars and you pay a certain X amount of money. I just helped your whole community. Where's my check? See, that's how the real business world is. Yeah. That's intellectual property, buddy. It's okay, though. I'm still going to get mine. But here's the bottom line, man. It's smoke and mirrors, and it's an illusion that you think that we all can work at one time. It's an illusion. It's not true. It's not real. It's not a reality that can be, right? So I just want to clear your mind of all those thoughts that, well, things would be better if these homeless people would just start working. No, things would be better if America started providing job openings with a living wage for all Americans. And stop playing Jedi mind tricks with these jobs that can only buy Happy Meals. These jobs can only buy biscuits and make muffins. That's all they can do. So then you find people that live with other people and all they can do is buy food. I've been there. Looks like you're doing good, but all in all actuality, all you can buy is DVDs, you know, and Happy Meals. Yeah, you can go stack up on food, but in actuality, you're not making a living wage where you can live on your own. So you can pay a little. You can have your phone bill going. You can have you can buy. You can go buy all the nice food that you like, but you're living with someone else, and you're not able to. You don't make a living wage, and you're not able to live out on your own. So the deception continues. Like you're doing good. You've been working all through the holidays. All you people. I feel sorry for a lot of people that do that. You don't realize. Many people don't. You've been working through the holidays, taking care of things, you know, buying gifts for everyone. And you don't realize while you're living with roommates and everything, that you can't live on your own. You think you're doing good, don't you? Until you realize without that help of your roommate, you're actually in danger of being homeless. Just like the guy that you look down on across the street. Just like the woman you look down on in your neighborhoods. You're just a step, like some people say, you're just a paycheck away from that. You're just one check away from it. Because most people not saving no money. As soon as they get the money, they know where they're going to put it to. That's many Americans. As soon as they get the money, they already know where they're going to put it to. They ain't got no money to save. They living literally paycheck to paycheck. They are. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're not saving no money. Okay? And so if you continue to let people insult your intelligence, like we all could be working, like we all could be one big family if all the homeless people just decide to work and, you know, shake a tail feather. We all could be in one big family if homeless people could shake a tail feather. Nah, it's not that. It's not that at all. It's not that. The reality is your country cannot employ us all. And my solution is, like I said, go to these home people, these people that own homes and rent and properties and apartments. Y'all need to start giving them money. Hey, they're the one that owns the places. It's fair. It's fair to give them money. Okay, they own properties. They own houses. They own land. Right? Well, hey, you got to work with that guy. You have to work with him. Okay? Your American government is not working with that guy. And I'm pretty sure many of them have concluded the same thing. Well, hey, if we had more money from the government through some program, we could pull down the cost of living. We could pull down, the cost of living. We could pull down the cost of this rent. But you can't do it, can you? You can't do it, can you? You can't pull down the cost of rent because you got to get yours at the same time. You got a property to run. You got houses to run. You got, how you going, you can't save the world, but the government can, so to speak. They can, so to speak, save the world in that context and definition, but you can't. How you gonna have properties and then you lower the rent and now, not consider and not even mentioning inflation. That just made it all worse. Now that everything in the whole country is jacked up, and now you got another situation. Now you have inflation on top of cost of living. So now everything we pay for is jacked up, including food. So people that do have a place to stay right now, inflation is tearing your food stamps or tearing your money for food up. When you got to pay $15 for a pack of meat, a pack of chicken patties is $15. $15, man. That should be more like $8. Actually, half of that, right? See, this is what the millionaires and billionaires, that's what I'm trying to show you, man. Kanye West around raving, Ye West, whatever name want to go by. He's going around raving and ripping and raving. Listen closely to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real stuff and real solutions, right? What is he doing? Talking about he running for president. Can't be serious. I ain't heard him one time out of all of these in him and other people acting like they're the money cats of the world, the fat cats. They all about money. Hey, well, you ain't got around to talking about the money that Americans make. You ain't got around talking about the cost of living. I have never heard the term cost of living come out of his mouth. And I haven't heard it frequently enough coming out of the mouth of Joe Biden. How many times have you heard Joe Biden talk about the cost of living? How many times have you heard Joe Biden talk about the cost of living? How many times have you heard Kamala Harris talk about the cost of living? When she's from San Francisco area, she's lived in the San Francisco area. She's lived in the San Francisco area, California area, all of that, right? Pretty sure she's in touch with the cost of living. Ain't heard her talk about it, have you? This is the most, listen, instead of all those Jedi mind tricks, you have people you're going to have to be a leader that people can hear talking plain English about their problems. And when you listen to these leaders, listen to them. It's almost like they speak in a different language. I'm serious. It's almost, think about what I'm saying to you. Go listen to them. Go listen to them, right? With that ear, what I just said. It sounds like, if you didn't know any better, that they're speaking a different language, bro. I talk like this on purpose. I could say bigger language. I could say bigger words. I could use a deeper vocabulary with everything that I say, but it would be going over your head. If I said things more complex, like on my level of thinking, it would go over your head. Real teachers don't go and boast in front of everybody the terms that they can use and the things in the perspective of complexity that they have. They don't sit up and boast articulation-wise in front of you concerning that. That's what these people do. Oh, yeah. You know, they're using all the terms and everything. And you know these terms are going over Americans' heads. See, real teachers and real speakers and messengers and leaders, they break it down like teachers. I'm breaking this down to you like a teacher. I'm talking this way because I am a teacher at heart, right? So I'm talking slow. I'm talking where I'm breaking it down. I'm not insulting your intelligence. You need this broken down, right? I'm not trying to go over your head on purpose. You would think if you didn't know any better, these people were trying to go over your head on purpose. Maybe it's a Jedi mind trick. Using all these languages that you don't understand, using all these terms that you're not familiar with, that you haven't heard since you've been in college or high school. Why don't they speak in plain English? Because it reveals everything. That's what I think. I think it reveals everything when you start speaking in plain English. and you start breaking stuff down like a teacher, yeah, they can't do that, can they? Have you seen them do it? Yeah. Let's hear you break it down, buddy. Let's see, Joe Biden. Let's see you break it down. Where you talk about there is not enough jobs in America for all American citizens. Oh, you can do something about it. It's something you can do about it. You got trillions and trillions of dollars, right? Why can't you make job openings? Why can't you make more jobs and become sophisticated and innovative to where you can begin to make more jobs? Oh, you just depending on the people that run the CEOs, they run the jobs. Listen, man, you can't be serious. You waiting for them to do it. Don't hold your breath. If you're waiting for employers to make more job openings, think about that. Think about that approach to it. Man, come on, that stinks, man. That don't stink to you. They sitting up waiting for employers to make job openings. You have to create, you have to become innovative about, okay, let's build up our country and at the same time provide job openings. So we're building and letting people, and we're giving life to the people at the same time. Listen, this country needs to be built up higher. Some places looks like it's still in the 80s. So if you was building up the community in providing job openings as a result and add jobs so people can that are the builders, because the position of building the community, you add those job openings, and those job openings be living wages, then see, you would turn everything around. So what you need to do is make a dual project of building up your community, instead of building all these skyscrapers, won't you start building properties for African Americans to live outside of the ghetto experience and give people jobs that's building this experience outside of the ghetto experience that is a living wage, and then you have homelessness in a better situation. Now, Jesus Christ said himself, you will always have the poor among you. That's what Jesus Christ said himself. You will always have the poor among you, right? But this is no excuse. Using that scripture as a means of not providing better cost of living. Come on now. Don't manipulate the scriptures. When you sit back and do nothing because, the Lord said it would be the poor always among us. So he wanted you to sit back and jack up the prices of cost of living to fulfill that scripture. You're fulfilling the scripture on purpose. Well, the Lord said it would be the poor among us. We got to keep this. Hey, the cost of living got to be right here. You think that's what that means? That's what I'm trying to see. I'm showing you, man. I'm showing you the deception. The main thing everybody should be focused on is this. Money, right? You need money as far as a human being, what your government can do for you, right? You need to be focused on money. That's survival. Money equals survival, right? If you don't have money, how can you eat? If you don't have money, how can you have a phone? How can you have electricity? You have to have money in this world that we live in, right? It's not evil. The love of money The greed that these fat cats have, that's what's the problem. Not money itself, the love of it, the lust of money, lusting after money. That's the problem. Okay? Not money itself. That's ridiculous. For people who use that scripture, the love of money is the root of all evil, and you got this weird perspective of money. Let me help you. Let me give you another scripture. You can go look this up in your personal time. The Bible says, money answereth all things. Go look it up in Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna do a video on that. The Bible says money answereth all things. Yeah, the preachers ain't telling you that part, are they? You need to be worried about money more than anything else. And moreover, you need to be worried about the cost of living more than anything else they talking about. Above wars, above you as the community, you have to put the demand. It's part of your fault. As soon as you start protesting, things get done. But you're not protesting concerning the cost of living. That has to first come down. You've been going about it all wrong. You've been fighting for a higher wage. That's not going to, listen, if you have a better cost of living, any wage is good. If you have a better cost of living, any wage is good. Everybody can live. Cost of living is listen, if you ain't got nothing else from this video, hear this part. The cost of living is what is should be the top priority of the American community and the American government. The cost of living, not the wage. That's where you messing up at. Because you're going to have to keep critiquing that, okay, according to what? The cost of living. If the cost of living goes up, then what is the wage that you just raised? Boom. The cost of living dictates whether your wage gets you off the street or not. So it's not about the wage, it's about the cost of living. Look, I don't use Jedi mind tricks. Just listen to me. The cost of living is more important than the money that you're making. If the cost of living is brought down, it's a broad amount of different wages that will get you off the streets. Some people may work at McDonald's, you're still good. You may work delivering some type of papers, you're still good. Because the cost of living has went down. Now, if the cost of living goes up and you just got a job after they raised minimum wage, but the cost of living went up, the fact that they raised the minimum wage is irrelevant. Cost of living, in other words, dictates everything. Not the wage. That's how they've been getting over. Listen, the wage doesn't dictate. The cost of living does. Now you see where we at. Because they've been going about it all wrong. Oh, we'll lift up the minimum wage. Man, that's pathetic and sad. Both. Listen, as long as the cost of living is crazy, it's not going to help anything for you to add a couple dollars to the minimum wage. That's all they're doing anyway. They ain't adding $10 to it. They adding a couple dollars to the minimum wage, right or wrong. They ain't adding $5 to it. They add $5 to the minimum wage. Come on now. You know it's under $5 that they're adding. If I give you a multiple choice, when they tell you they've raised the minimum wage, I'll say, how How many dollars do you think they raised the minimum wage to? A, $10, $15. A, $15. B, $10. C, $7. Or D, $2. You know it's $2. That answer will be D. Ding, 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 ding. They're only adding $2 to raising the minimum wage. That's not going to do anything concerning the cost of living. If you change the cost of living and drop that down, how much you have to pay for rent all across the country, the cities, now people can afford apartments all across the city. They have options. They want to live in this neighborhood because it's more artsy. They can. They don't have to be packed like sardines in cans in neighborhoods that they don't even want to live in. And cost of living is the only thing that's going to change that, to where people have options. Okay? The cost of living is what it is. That's all it's about. If you ain't get, like I said, if you ain't get nothing else from my video, the cost of living is the number one priority. Not minimum wage, not money itself, and just vague idea of money. No, I'm being more sophisticated and more complex on the situation. You have to have the cost of living brought down. You have to demand that your government pay X amount of money to people that own properties, that give us places to live. These people they're not nobodies, they provide places for us to live. So you can't treat the landlords like they're nobodies. They're providing places for you and I to live. At the end of the day, you can't act like these people who own home properties are nobodies. They got you and your family off the streets, bruh. You can't treat them like nobodies. So so look, they got to get that extra money. You got to take care of them. The people that's providing a place for you to stay, you got to take care of them. So who can do that? You can't do it. You can't pay them. You can't pay the homeowners, the rent, the landlords double. So you got to pay for your rent and give them more money so they bring it down? Come on. You know what I mean, though. You can't do it. The American government has been given millions and millions of dollars to look at the money that they spend. Okay? Yeah, you need to be in their pockets. And you have to listen, you paying for stuff here. Yeah. You're paying for stuff here. They need to make, the American government needs to make a program, right, between them and homeowners and apartment and property owners, where they're giving them more money annually. Okay? They have to. If they don't do this, the cost of living will never go down. The cost of rent will never go down. It will never, ever, ever go down. The cost of where you live will never go down. The cost for where you want to live will never go down. Now, if the American government makes an official national program that provide monies for landlords and for property owners and property owners in general, if they start cutting them checks yearly, annually, the cost of living will come down everywhere. They have the money. Pay attention to what they do. Look, they give money to the Ukrainians, trillions of dollars, man. That could have been money right there. Right there. Let's just say the war didn't happen. They still got the money, right? They still got the money. Let's say that war didn't happen. They have that money, right? Right. They could have took that. They could have took that money and gave it to property owners in general, and begin to work on bringing it down, bringing the cost of living down at these places that you go and try to live in. They could, if the government is giving them more money, which it is their responsibility, okay, to take it. Look, we're their citizens. They should be making sure we're off the streets. That's the first priority. Which confirms my plan that they should be doing this. They should be giving more money to the people that provide housing for Americans. And then all the homeowners, the property owners say, well, hey, I'm doing good now. I can bring down this cost of living. I don't have to charge these people so much now. The government cutting me a better check. They got a new program. They cutting me a check now. Yeah, I ain't gotta listen. I don't gotta do that. I'm finna bring this down now. I'm happy about it now. I'm happy to do it. I've been wanting to do it, but I can't screw myself. And see, now you got a realistic situation where everyone can get off the streets. But you know what you got going on right now? Let me snap you back to reality. You got a country that cannot provide jobs for everybody. First problem right there. You got trillions of dollars to give to Ukraine, but you can't provide jobs for everybody. Something's wrong with that. Okay, you got trillions of dollars to just hand out to Ukraine. But you can't hand out trillions of dollars to provide jobs for all Americans. This should be the top priority of all administrations of the White House, is to provide jobs for everyone. Make this a long-term but short-term goal, bruh. You get it? As soon as possible. This is what you have to do. This is what your government should be working on now. Right? That should be the number one priority, is to make it real that everybody can work if they want to. But you can't say that. You can't say that right now. You can't say this right now. While you saying everybody's lazy, okay, for all you people that like to say people lazy, listen, man. I destroyed your whole philosophy. You sit back and rave about how people don't want to work. Everybody can't work. And even if they did, they wouldn't make a living wage. They would have to depend on somebody else. They would have to depend on a roommate or family members to get off the streets. I destroyed your whole philosophy. Now you ain't got nothing to talk about. You riding around in your car yelling at people out the window, go get a job. It's people that actually do that. It's people that actually do that. Meanwhile, that person is ignorant of the fact that every homeless person cannot, or every unemployed person in America cannot go and work. And even if they did, they wouldn't make a living wage. right? Now, if I tell this person that, what they gonna say? They gonna give you all the excuses. Well, what? Everyone cannot work at the same time in your country you call the United States of America. And even if they did, they all would not have enough money to pay for rent or to pay for a mortgage. That's the bottom line. That's for all the people that sit up and say, well, the world would be better if homeless people would get up and work. If the America would be better if all these people get off their butts and work. Well, if everybody decided to get off their butts, it's not enough jobs. See how good it feels when you hear it in plain English. You see how good it feels to finally hear your national language clearly. It's arousing, isn't it? To hear someone speak in plain English and tell you clearly what it is. You can't all be employed at one time. You can't be. So it destroys all these white races who say, well, all these non-white people just sitting around lazy. Well, let me help you with something, white supremacist. You can't employ, your country doesn't have the power to employ everyone at one time. Well, all these people sitting around doing nothing, getting checks off the government. Really? That's how you feel? Well, let me say something. Let me interject this too. It's kind of off subject, but kind of on subject. All those as far as African Americans, their ancestors work for free. You don't think karma is going to give them free money if their ancestors work for free? Their ancestors work for free. You didn't have a problem with that, did you? They work for free, and you don't think there is justice for their descendants to get free money based on them working for free? You don't think the children of these slaves should get some type of wages for free, being that their ancestors work for free? In other words, EBT is karma. It is. It's karma. Why you're so simple-minded talking about they're collecting checks off the government. They should be collecting checks off the government. They should be. Anybody ever told you that? See, I'm helping you every way. Look, it's just listen. I birthed out solutions. I birthed out information. EBT, the food stamps and the cash, that's all karma. That's all karma for the lack of retribution. The lack of slavery retribution. For real. I believe it's a form of karma. Well, the world would be better if everybody worked to stop collecting checks. Well, listen, that's karma. You might as well forget about that part. You might as well forget about that part, the collecting of checks from descendants of slaves. You might as well you listen. That's karma. That's going to happen, buddy. That's why it's happening. Well, besides that, it'd be a better world if everybody's working. Okay? Yeah, it would be a better world. It would be a better world if your American government was able to provide jobs for everybody to be working. They're not able to do that here in 2023. And some would say they were never able to do it. So it's always been an illusion that everybody wasn't aware of. You wasn't aware of this. You were not aware of this. Won't you admit it, guys? Won't you all admit it? Huh? You were not aware of the fact that your American government, your American community cannot provide jobs for all of you. Huh? Won't you admit it? Because these are the facts.